We've got a Dippy update for you now. You might remember he is the enormous replica skeleton of a Diplodocus, which stood in London's Natural History Museum for more than a century.
He was right there in the entrance, wasn't he? The first thing you saw when you walked through the door. He's been on tour for the last few years, but now he's found a kind of semi-permanent home in Coventry.
Of course. Yes, Breakfast John Maguire can tell us a little bit more. Morning, John.
Morning both, hope you're very well. Morning to everyone at home. Here is Dippy then in his new home, the Herbert Art Gallery and Museum in Coventry. As you were saying, he's been on tour over the last few years, but this will be his home for the next 3 years at least. It's always quite the sight to see, a replica plaster cast of each bones of the skeleton of the Diplodocus. But when you're down beneath the rib cage, you get an idea of the sheer scale, absolutely massive, almost 30 metres in length from nose to tail, an extremely impressive creature, and now, once again, available for you to be able to come and see. Herds of Diplodocus roamed the Earth 150 million years ago. They were among the biggest animals on the planet. Herbivorous, plant-eating, their size and appetite meant they could clear forests. The original skeleton was discovered in the United States by railway workers in 1899. Dippy is a replica made up of casts of the 292 Diplodocus bones to form the huge skeleton that first stood in London's Natural History Museum in 1905. 6 years ago, it set off on a tour around the UK and was seen by 2 million visitors. People keen, if not to walk with dinosaurs, then at least to stand beside and beneath one, marvelling at its scale and imagining a world tens of millions of years ago. So, this is beneath the skeleton. Dippy arrived in 29 of these Indiana Jones-esque crates and has been reassembled. Just have a look at the tail here, this really long, very narrow at the end, whip-like tail. I remember from the BBC television programme Walking with Dinosaurs, the theory is that they were used for communication amongst the herds. Diplodocus would be in herds of around 30 to try to protect themselves from predators. Marguerite Nugent, good morning to you.
Hey.
He's here, or it's
yes,
here.
yes.
Fantastic to see. Why Coventry? Why here?
Well, we made a pitch when the Natural History Museum announced that they were looking for a home for Dippy for 3 years. And we thought that would be a fantastic opportunity for the people of Coventry. And, you know, obviously in the wake of City of Culture 2021, you know, really brilliant opportunity for people in Coventry to be able to see Dippy, which normally you'd have to travel to the Natural History Museum for. So we were super excited about it.
And you get to walk underneath,
yes,
almost
yes,
anyway.
Yes.
An extraordinary sight. The sheer scale just blows me away, and I've seen Dippy before. What are the plans? What are the expectations? What are the hopes for having it here in Coventry?
Well, we'll be shortly opening the door to the public, so we're hoping that we will have a lot of visitors. We know that everywhere that Dippy's been in the UK, those cities have experienced what they call the Dippy effect. So there's been a massive boost to the city economy with that increased footfall. We've also got lots of plans for how we can use our own permanent collections, because we have a lot of fossils which are to do with marine life, because Coventry at the time of Dippy was covered under a shallow sea.
Right.
So we're going to be using our own collection.
So he wouldn't have been a local back then?
He wouldn't, no, you wouldn't have seen Dippy roaming the streets of Coventry. And we've also got lots of ideas for events. You know, once we get the programme underway, we want to do late events at the museum, Dippy sleepovers. We've got a really exciting schools programme coming up, so schools will be able to book to come and visit. And yeah, I mean, so many opportunities really while Dippy's in residence.
Exciting times. And there are lots of theories about why we still have this fascination with dinosaurs, especially children have that fascination. So presumably it will be a big draw for families and for school groups too.
Yeah, I think it'd be really great for families. I mean, obviously everybody loves dinosaurs, don't they? But we're expecting, we're expecting lots of families. And you know, Dippy is just one thing, I suppose, that is on offer in Coventry. You know, you can come and visit some of the other sites. We've got great leisure centres. We've got our iconic cathedral. We've got the Transport Museum. So yeah, so you can make a day or even a weekend of it, really.
And putting the model back together over the last several weeks, what's that been like as a process?
Well, it's actually been surprisingly quick to install.
Okay.
It took 5 days to install. Dippy arrived last Monday morning at 5 a.m.
Just 5 days.
All the crates were loaded off really quickly so we could open the road again. And the Natural History Museum and their team put Dippy together over, you know, the last few days. But the planning has been a lot longer because we heard back in November that we'd been successful, and then we really had to think about all of the operational issues that we needed to consider around security, health and safety, conservation, installation and all of that. So we've had to almost do a whole new operational plan for the museum.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Looking very happy, I must say, in the new home. Quick dino fact. What a dino fact. Have a look at his teeth, Ian. Just behind you, sorry, you'll probably break your neck doing that, Ian, but I apologise. 42 teeth that were used to rake the trees way back 150 million years ago, but those teeth were replaced every 35 days. Can you imagine that? Should we do a quick selfie? If you come and visit, you get to hold up one of these selfie boards. You can hold up a selfie and say Dippy.
Dippy.
Back to you.
Love it. That's great.
It's brilliant.
We'll see you again a bit later. It's interesting that we're saying Diplodocus now, because when we were kids, it was Diplodocus.
Diplodocus. So apologies if we get it wrong at some point this morning. Diplodocus is definitely the way.
That's the way we're doing it now.